Labdien, tauta! Šodien es nāku jums ar jaunu sulīgu reaktu. Sulīgais ir...
Jūs jautāsiet, Jaran, kāpēc tev stāv no streamiem donations augšā stūrī? Nu, jautājums ir vienkārši labs. Atbildi ir vēl labāka. Nu, es aizmirsu noņemt. Tā kā, piedodiet. Lūdzu! Bet izbaudiet video. Aiziet.
Reakts ir šodien top 5 šausminošas, bailīgas, neatklāti noziegumi slepkavības. Teiksim tā, slepkavības 5 neatklātas, kuras ir šausminošas, nu, respektīvi, ļoti sliktas. Kanāls, video nāk no kanāls Scary Mysteries, kur redzēt tur augšā vai ne, varat abonēt, noklišināt pogu, abonēt, ja gribat, iešakot video pašā aprakstā, protams, links uz oriģinālo video, tur viņš vienmēr ir. Un ko, nu redzat, 200,000 views, 2000 laiki, tikai 83 dislike, tad varētu jau būt interesanti. Nu, ko ķersimies klāt un redzēsim, pārunāsim, protams, katru arī slepkavību un ko mēs domājam. Tagad tā, aiziet, sākam. Bam! Ok.
Murder is a sinister act no matter how you look at it.
Yep.
However, there are certain cases that stand out, not just because of the grisly circumstances involved, but more so because they remain unsolved.
Okay.
Here are 5 of the most horrifying and creepy unsolved murders.
Labi.
Number 5, the Black Doodler.
Black Doodler. Nice Doodlers.
San Francisco was a different time in the 1970s.
Protams.
While today the gay lifestyle is more accepted, back then the men generally had to keep their sexuality a secret.
Okay.
From January 1974 to September of 1975, a deranged man was tied to 17 total attacks, 14 of which resulted in murders. 3 victims survived their wounds, but they all refused to testify for fear of outing themselves to friends, family, and co-workers. Hence the...
Ko? Kāpēc? Ja tu reāli izdzīvo, pofīgi, ko, nu, es saprotu, tajā laikā savādāk, laikam domāju, un likās, ka, nu, būs slikti, ja tu pateiksi, ka tu respektīvi esi, nu, gejs, homoseksuāls, un, jā, bet kāpēc? Ja tev ir tāda situācija, jopsik, tu paglābi tik daudz cilvēkus, kam arī ir tā problēma, tu paglābi viņus, nu, es saprotu, mēs nedomājam bieži par savu, nedomājam par citu lietām, bet par sevi domājam, bet es uzskatu, tu paglābi citus cilvēkus no uzbrukumiem, ja ātrāk atklāt. Es nezinu, vai ja es būtu tādā situācijā, vai es baidītos runāt, nu, kāpēc nē, nu, ja es izdzīvoju, tad varbūt ir lemts, kādēļ es esmu izdzīvojis, un, jā, un kādēļ varbūt es to varu labot, teiksim tā, labi, turpinam tālāk.
The Black Doodler remains at large. As to why he was called the Black Doodler, his main MO was to frequent gay bars in the Bay Area and chat up guys and transvestites, which he would eventually offer to take home and sketch. And after that was over, he would stab them multiple times all over their bodies.
Damn.
Transvestites were mutilated a bit further and often had their throats slashed.
Okay.
Among the victims were Gerald Kavanaugh, who was believed to be the first victim, Joseph J. Stevens, who was a female impersonator and comedian, and Frederick Kaplan, a former United States Navy nurse. Those who survived included a popular entertainer and diplomat, but as to their actual identities, those have been kept a secret.
No, okay,
A potential suspect was arrested relating to the crimes. He was a former mental patient who freely discussed the case with the police, but stopped short of admitting to the stabbings.
Okay.
Because the survivors never testified or would even identify him, the suspect was released.
Damn.
Experts believe the killer was a closeted homosexual who was so ashamed of himself and his natural desires that it drove him to kill those he had sexual relations with. His doodles serving as a creepy, sort of frozen moment in time of the individuals who would be slain shortly after.
Okay. Okay. Pirms ceramies nākamai pārunāsim šito. Nu, iespējams, tas ir traks veids uz to skatīties, ka viņam bija tādas depresīvas problēmas, un ka viņš arī domāja, ka tas ir vienīgais veids, kā atbrīvoties no tā visu, un ka viņam ir tik liels kauns. Es šaubos. Man liekas, ne, viņš vienkārši bija tāds, nu, Nu jā, psihiski nelīdzsvarots cilvēks, kur mustīka tas nav pat tāpat kā rasists. Es uzskatu, tas variants, un tas bija tas, viņam vienkārši tas bija nākošā līmenī, kad viņš gāja uz tām vietām, tēloja, izveidoja kaut kādu personāžu, tēloja, ka viņš ir arī homoseksuāls, jeb gejs. Un, jā, un tad aizved uz turieni, jā, zīmēm, es nezinu, vai tas bija kaut kāds viņa rituāls un viņa prātā kaut kāda lieta, ko viņš mīlēja darīt, bet es uzskatu, ka nebija viņš gejs. Es tā vismaz domāju, ne, nu, ko es zinu. Es vienkārši esmu čoks, kas reakto uz vidiku un izsaka savas domas, bet man liekas, ka tā varētu būt. Protams, jūs vēlreiz ierakstiet komentārā uz visām lietām, kā jums liekas, kas bija, un kā jūs liekas, kas varētu būt tas slepkava, un vai viņš ir gejs, vai tāda problēma, ko policija teica, vai jums ir kaut kāda savu teoriju. Tā kā ķeramies klāt.
Number 4. Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run.
Okay, Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run.
In 1935, Kingsbury Run in Cleveland was mostly home to derelicts. It was here that two boys running home stumbled across a corpse of a young man.
Okay.
His legs were spread out, the arms and hands placed close to the sides of the torso, but the head and genitals had been removed. An initial search of the area uncovered another corpse, this time of an elderly man. But he was placed in the same position, with his head and genitals also missing.
Damn.
During the autopsy, it was determined the older gentleman had been dead for 2 weeks, while the younger male had been dead for roughly 3 days. The younger man's death was caused by decapitation, meaning he had been alive while the murderer hacked away at his head.
Shit.
An investigation was underway, and soon more bodies were found, and the case became national news. Folks in Cleveland started calling the killer the Mad Butcher, and after that, Elliot Ness became involved in the investigation while serving as Cleveland's secretary-chief. Ness was famous for cleaning up Chicago's mafia together with his untouchables.
Oh, shit.
His involvement gave hope to the people of Cleveland. If anyone could track down this killer, it would be him. But unfortunately, the victim count just continued to grow.
Damn.
Even though the killer murdered both men and women, he mainly targeted drifters, homeless people, or those from the lower class. His method was to decapitate victims while they were alive before cutting them up post-mortem. He would remove the organs and burn their bodies using a chemical or accelerant. Investigators also believed he would kill his victims off-site, because dismembering them required privacy. Most of the heads were never recovered, making it likely that the killer kept them as trophies. Officially, the Mad Butcher killed 12 people, but some believe that count could be as high as 20. After years of investigation, no charges were ever filed on any suspect. Ness theorized that the butcher must have had a house of his own and a car to transport the bodies with ease. He also must be a man of good strength and size based on the fact that he found a size 12 shoe print at one of the crime scenes. The killer might also have had a medical background, perhaps a surgeon, or a hunter or butcher. Ultimately, Ness had one suspect in mind and even went as far as to actually interview him in connection with the crimes. His name was Dr. Francis E. Sweeney, but he denied the claims and laughed off the accusation. Dr. Sweeney fit Ness's profile and even served in the medical unit during World War I, where he would perform amputations and patchings. He came from a prominent family, but they also had a history of psychiatric problems. No evidence could be found against him, and so he was never formally arrested. In the end, Sweeney committed himself to a mental institution, where he would send harassing postcards to Ness and his family members until the 50s. He later died in 1964, and to this day, no one has any information as to who actually was the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run.
Damn. Nu, diezgan grūti ir neatklāt. Tas ir diezgan traki, godīgi, ja tā padomā. Nu, iespējams, tā šķels ir godīgi, jocīgi tā bišķīt, bet nu, man liekas, tā ir tā pareizā loģika tam, ka tajā laikā jau karš un viss pārējās lietas, un daudzi cilvēki palika psiholoģiski nelīdzsvarot traki, un jā, līdz ar to es uzskatu, ka tas varētu būt tas nu, tips, tipa tam čokam, Mad Butcher, jo es domāju, ka jā, visticamāk, cilvēks, kuram psiholoģiski no kara kaut kāds varētu būt arī kaut kāds ārsts un tam līdzīgi, kas, nu, tas psiholoģiski daudz iespēdos cilvēku pēc kara būt, un daudz cilvēku neiztur to pēc tam atgriežoties reālajā pasaulē. Iespējams, tas ir arī viņš, iespējams. Tas čels, iespējams, kāds cits, bet es uzskatu, tā kara teorija ir pareizā. Nu, kad kāds psihiski nelasuros sakarā ar traumu no kara. Ko, kas tālāk?
Number 3. The Oakland County Child Killer.
The Oakland County Child Killer.
From 1976 to 1977, 4 children were abducted and subsequently murdered in Oakland County, Michigan, by an individual dubbed the Oakland County Child Killer. The first victim was Jill Robinson, who had packed a bag and ran away from home on December 22nd, 1976. The day after, her bicycle was found abandoned behind a hobby store. Her body would turn up 4 days later along Interstate 75 on Big Beaver Road in full view of the Troy police station.
Shit.
She'd been neatly dressed, still with her backpack on, and laid out on a snowbank with a single gunshot wound to the face. 12-year-old Mark Stebbins was last seen leaving American Legion Hall on February 15th. His body was also found 4 days later, placed on a snowbank in a parking lot of an office building. He had been wearing the same clothes he disappeared in, had rope marks on his arms, and was sexually assaulted with a foreign object.
Damn.
The third victim, 10-year-old Christine Milich, was last spotted inside a 7-Eleven store purchasing a magazine on January 2nd, 1977. 19 days later, her body would be found on Aurora Road inside Franklin Village. She was neatly placed with her eyes closed, her hands on her chest, and again on a snowbank. Her body was in full view of houses nearby, and it was determined that she had been killed by being smothered. The last victim was 11-year-old Timothy King, and he disappeared on March 16th after heading out to buy candy at a nearby store. He left using the rear exit, got on his skateboard, and was never seen alive again.
Fuck.
In a letter to the Detroit News, Marion King pleaded for his safe return so she could feed him his favorite meal, Kentucky Fried Chicken. 7 days after going missing, 2 teens spotted Timothy's body in a shallow ditch. Again, he was neatly placed, wearing the same clothes he was last seen wearing. His clothes had been pressed and washed, and his skateboard placed beside him. Autopsy showed he was suffocated and sexually assaulted. The contents in his stomach showed that his final meal before being killed was that of fried chicken, the same food his mother told the news was his favorite.
Cool.
Other child abductions happened within the same period but were not linked to the Oakland County Child Killer. As for the killer's identity, there were several suspects that included the son of a General Motors executive and even John Wayne Gacy. However, no one was ever convicted for the crime. Recently, the case has been reopened with newer evidence coming to light. However, no suspects are currently being charged.
Nu, te īsti nav pat ko man teikt, diži. Nu, vienkārši bērni neiet vienu naktī ārā un esiet uzmanīgi, nerunājiet ar svešiem cilvēkiem un jā, esiet uzmanīgi, jo nevar zināt, jebkurš cilvēks nevar būt ar labu nodomu, citi cilvēki ir slimi, cilvēki, kuriem vajag palīdzību, kuriem ir slimi nodomi un jā, tad esiet uzmanīgi šeit, nu, viss vienādi, nu, tur grūti kaut ko pateikt, kas tas ir, kurš tas jebkurš cilvēks varēja būt, jebkurš. Žēl, ka puišiem visu laiku bija sexually assaulted, tas ir slim, kad nu, arī meitenes tā nedrīkst darīt, bet, nu, kad jebkuram vienkārši, kad tieši puišiem, tas, jā, fuck. Labi, kas otrā vietā?
Number 2, Axeman of New Orleans.
Vienkārši otrais case. Okay.
From May 1918 to October 1919, the streets of New Orleans became a hunting ground for one of the most bizarre killers to ever exist.
Okay.
His choice of weapon was an axe. Known officially in the history books as the Axeman of New Orleans, he attacked 12 people in a single year, 7 of which died from the brutality of the wounds. His targets were often women, but he would attack men too if they got in the way. The majority of his victims were Italian Americans, and the first were Joseph and Catherine Maggio. On May 22, 1918, while the couple slept, the Axeman carved a hole through the door, slipped inside, and proceeded to hack away. Catherine was found slumped over her husband in bed. A razor was used to slit her neck, and the cut was so deep it nearly decapitated her. Meanwhile, Joseph was found still alive with a gash on his face and head that he eventually died from.
Yep.
Several more victims would turn up in the same way. At first, police thought the crimes were a form of extortion, but no missing valuables were ever reported. The murders would continue in this fashion with a short lull in the summer, and by March of 1919, the killer would attack the Cortimiglia family, where police found a bloody axe left on the back porch of the home. 3 days after this last attack, the local papers received an ominous letter from the Axeman himself. Part of the letter read, "Now to be exact, at 12:15 on next Tuesday night, I'm going to pass over New Orleans. In my infinite mercy, I'm going to make a little proposition to you people.
Okay.
Here it is. I'm very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all the devils in the nether regions that every person shall be spared in whose home a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have just mentioned.
Damn.
If everyone has a jazz band going, well, then so much the better for you people.
That's
One thing is certain, and that is that some of your people who do not jazz it on Tuesday night will get the axe." A lot of people still doubt the authenticity of the letter, but on March 19th, 1919, the streets of New Orleans were flooded with jazz music. That night, the Axeman kept his promise and didn't kill anyone. There would be 3 more victims that year, happening in August, September, and October, before the Axeman officially vanished without a trace. To this day, no one has been arrested in relation to the murders, and still no one knows the true identity of the Axeman of New Orleans.
Pirms pēdējā par šito, es esmu redzējis, to ir BuzzFeed tāds kanāls, tur ir arī par šitām pa crime vidiku, un tur diezgan interesanti bija pastīties, bija interesanti paklausīties par šito čoku. Nu, slims veids gribēt, lai cilvēki atskaņo tavu mūziku žanru, kur tev gribās atskaņot slims veids. Nu, jā, visu laiku darīja to, kad atstāja savu cirvi visu laiku noziegumu vietām. Jā, neviens neatklāja. Nu, viņš arī dažreiz galvenāja cilvēks, cik es sapratu, ar lietām, kas nav, ja viņš atrada dzīvoklī. Viņš atrada, viņš paņem, gandrīz visiem bija cirvi, kas man diezgan jocīgi liekas tajā laikā. Visiem cirvi bija. Tā kā, jā. Nu, tur grūti arī pateikt, kurš tas bija, vai tā vēstule ir īsta vai nav, to var spriest, kurš savādāk un domāt. Man neskapēc sajūt, kad ir īsta, kad ir īsta un kad tā daudziem cilvēkiem patīk tā caur slepkavām daudziem, es tik zinu, vecos laikos, īpaši arī skatoties pēc dokumentālām veco laiku slepkavām, viņiem bija tas dzejiskais artistika veids, kā viņi gribēja to darīt. Nu, viņiem nebija konkrēts mērķis, nauda vai kas, viņiem bija tā kā vienkārši kaut kāds jeb slima galvā lieta, kas viņiem likās skaista pareizi, kas vispār nav skaista un pareizi, nedomājot slepkavību, nekad nevajag tā darīt. Bet, nu jā, Axeman ir viens no tiem. Tā kā jā, nu ko ķeramies pie pēdējā?
Number 1. The Girl Scout Murders.
Girl Scout Murders, okay.
40 miles from Tulsa, Oklahoma is Camp Scott. It was the first night at camp. The girls arrived, chose their bunkmates, and went to their respective tents after dinner because of the rain. Each tent could accommodate 4 girls, but inside Tent Kiowa, the last and most remote tent on the trail, there were only 3.
Okay.
There were 8-year-old Lori Lee Farmer, Michelle Hughes, who was 9, and 10-year-old Doris Miller. A little after midnight, camp counselor Carla Sue Willard heard some unusual sounds, so she took a flashlight and went outside to investigate. Each time she shone her light into the darkness, the sound would stop. Eventually, she dismissed it as just an animal and went back to sleep, and all through the night, the other girls in different tents would hear weird guttural sounds outside, but no one knew what it was.
Okay.
The next morning, Carla woke up at 6 a.m. to head to the showers. She walked towards the area where she had heard the unusual noise from the night before and found 3 sleeping bags under a tree. She took a closer look and was horrified to find the dead body of Denise Miller. Inside, the other 2 bags had the bodies of Lori and Michelle. All 3 girls were beaten, and both Michelle and Lori were killed with heavy blows to the head.
Damn.
Meanwhile, Denise was also beaten, but she had died from strangulation. All 3 were sexually assaulted. When the crime scene was examined, it showed the girls were tied up using duct tape and rope prior to being beaten and raped. In a very scary twist, 2 months before camp was about to start, the counselors were on site training when one of their tents was ransacked. A handwritten note was left that said 3 campers would be murdered. Unfortunately, the note was dismissed as a prank and thrown away.
Ko?
Soon, suspects were traced and named.
What? Legit? Ko? Nu nevar būt tādu nopietni, tik strateģiski šo... What?
The most prominent was Gene Leroy Hart, an escaped felon. Crime scene materials found in a nearby cave were traced to Hart that connected him to the camp crime scene.
Okay.
After a 10-month manhunt, Hart was arrested and convicted, but was acquitted by a jury because they believed more than one person committed the crime. Hart was still sent to jail to serve the remainder of his time for a previous rape case, and within weeks of going back to prison, he died of a heart attack. Today, the case still remains a mystery. As for Camp Scott, it has been closed since the day after the murders and is now owned by a local citizen and kept private. So those were 5 of the most horrifying and creepy unsolved murders. Crimes of such an intense nature as these more often than not get solved. But the idea that these people got away with such horrifying acts is almost as scary as the murders themselves.
Yep.
If you enjoyed watching this video...
Droši cilvēki abonējiet šo kanālu. Foršs vidiks man patīk, es nospēdīšu laiku noteikti. Super vidiks. Jā, nu, pa pēdējo diezgan traki arī, nu, tur bērns man tas vairāk šokēja tā vēstule. Tā vēstule bija vistrakākā tajā visā. Es pat nesapratu, kā. Vai tiešām strateģiski tas cilvēks tā bija izplānojis, vai tas ir tiešām sagadīšanās kaut kāda. Bet, nu, gan jau, ka nē. Kas tas būs, noteikti neuzzināsim, diemžēl, nekad. Bet, ja jums patīk šīs reakts, nospēdiet laiku, komentāros ierakstiet, kādas jūs domas ir par katru slepkavību. Un, protams, abonējiet kanālu, aiziet iečukot šito video aprakstā ar links, un te jau, jā, tiekamies nākamajā video. Pagaidām visiem. Peace!